Snoopy's Racing Railway is Canada's best junior coaster. Located at Canada's Wonderland, this is an adorable multi-launch coaster past some fun set pieces. And the chain likes this ride so much that they've already cloned it once at Carowinds. In this review, I will explain why this is such a nice ride for kids and families. In 2021, Art Engineering debuted their family launch coaster Fantasiana in Austria. Named Fridolin's verrückter Zauberexpress, this was an innovative ride. Before this, most junior coasters use small lift hills. However, this ride featured multiple launches and a more expansive layout past some set pieces. Not only that, the trains were smartly designed to be wide enough to comfortably accommodate kids and adults alike. Canada's Wonderland has had a long working relationship with Art Engineering, and they purchased a clone of this ride. They installed it for the 2023 season. Named Snoopy's Racing Railway, it was placed in the back corner of Planet Snoopy. This is the plot of land where Dinosaurs Alive was previously located. And I love this coaster's appearance. The train quite literally is a train, with Snoopy clinging onto the back dressed as an engineer. Then the ride is themed to a gang led by Woodstock causing trouble. So the ride passes through some themed structures. This includes a fireworks factory in the first half. Then the second launch takes place in a saloon. My only con with this coaster setup is the severe lack of shade in the queue. It offers some great views of the coaster, but is simply miserable in the summer months. The park recently was blasted in 2025 for opening Alpenfury without shade structures, but those were added a few weeks after the coaster opened. But Snoopy has been open for 2 years at this point and still has no shade, so at this point, I doubt it'll ever come, which is a real shame. Canada's Wonderland is the highest attended seasonal amusement park in North America, so they see heavy crowds most days. As a result, this coaster often has a decent wait, one of the longest I've seen for any junior coaster. This makes the shade issue particularly problematic. In my 2 most recent visits on a weekend, the line hovered around the 30 to 45 minute mark for much of the day. So how can you avoid the longest waits? I would recommend heading here during the starter end of the ride's operating day. I say the ride's operating day rather than the park's operating day because this coaster may have different hours. Parts or all of Planet Snoopy have not been opening until noon as of late due to staffing. Then this area often closes 1 hour before park closing. It is also worth noting this coaster is not included in the park's paid fast lane skip the line system. It is one of several smaller and lower capacity coasters the park has excluded from the service. So if you get stuck in this line, it is hot and slow moving, as the ride operates with just a single train. Fantasiana is a much smaller park, so this coaster's meager capacity is not an issue for them. Canada's Wonderland did a few things to try to minimize the waits. First, they did a few things to increase the ride's capacity. To start, they added an extra car to the train. The train can seat a max of 14 riders per cycle, as it is comprised of 7 rows of 2. The prototype had been designed to operate with a 7th car if necessary. That is why Fantasiana's version has an extra air gate in the station, although the park jokingly says it's for the park mascot, who rides on the back much like Snoopy. In addition, Canada's Wonderland removed the backwards launch at the start. This only trims 10 seconds off the cycle, but it's something. The park had considered operating the coaster with a single lap, but they opted for 2 laps like the prototype. This would have been a much bigger time saver, as it would have trimmed 30 seconds off of each cycle. To also deal with the capacity issue, Canada's Wonderland restricted this coaster to kids and families in its inaugural season. Guests had to be at least 36 inches tall to ride, but if you were taller than 60 inches, you needed to accompany a kid to ride, so this was an annoyance for many coaster enthusiasts visiting the park. This policy had been implemented on several kiddie coasters across the Cedar Fair chain, including Taxi Jam in this very same park, but Snoopy's Racing Railway was easily the largest coaster to receive that rule. This rule has since been lifted, meaning more guests can experience this coaster and there is slightly more demand now. At the end of the queue, riders are assigned a row. From my experience, the staff members were assigning front to back, no exceptions. You could not request a vacant row, nor could you wait an extra cycle for a row that was already occupied. Fortunately, the row doesn't matter much with this ride. The forces feel mostly identical across the train. It is unfortunate though for those smaller kids who want that unobstructed view up front. Those trains are much roomier than your standard junior coaster, so legroom is not an issue for ones with a ride like this, and the individual lap bars are nicely profiled. They do need to come down rather far though, which can be problematic for adults. Once secured, a window above the station reveals Woodstock. The Peanuts then ask Snoopy to get them out of there. You then have a tire-propelled launch directly out of the station. While the top speed is understandably modest given this coaster's target demographic, it actually has an okay kick to it. This is followed by a banked turnaround above the queue. No major force here, and I'll bury the hatchet. This coaster does not offer any tangible laterals, negative Gs, nor positive Gs. It's a kiddie coaster after all. You then have a little speed hump before traveling left through the aforementioned fireworks factory. The clearances here are super tight, so it's a nice near miss. You then have a mild S-bend and a leftward turn into the saloon. You'll see Lucy over by the entrance, but you have the mischievous Woodstock on the inside, so you're launched forwards into the second half. This is a rolling launch that gives you a speed boost, but the acceleration is too gradual to offer a notable kick like that first launch. Next is an S-hill over the exit ramp. In the back row, you'll get a little whip coming down this element. Then there's an upward spiral into the station. On the right-hand side, you'll see Charlie Brown dressed up as a park ranger. You decelerate slightly entering the station. Then you are sent through the layout a second time. As before, you get a decent little punch in this launch. The rest of the layout feels identical to the first pass, except the narration during the launches is missing. When you reach the station this time, you fully decelerate and come to a stop, ending the experience. This coaster has 804 feet, or 245 meters of track, which is solid for a junior coaster. When you factor in the 2 laps per cycle, this ride has a respectable duration. In terms of pacing, this ride is good for a junior coaster. Then in terms of smoothness, the ride is glass smooth. Compare that to some of the older kiddie coasters out there that are quite janky. So, what would I rate Snoopy's Racing Railway? I would give this coaster a 7 out of 10. This is a good junior coaster. It is comfortable for all ages between the train design and the smooth track work. Then the layout is unique for the genre with the multiple launches. While the layout is understandably light on the forces, it is enjoyable with the visuals and audio. My only major con with this coaster is the queuing experience, between the length and the severe lack of shade. This ride was so well received that Carowinds added a clone of it for the 2025 season. The theme structures were modified slightly, but the overall experience is nearly identical. So I would not be surprised if this coaster pops up at another Legacy Cedar Fair park or two in the near future. It certainly offers a better experience than your standard junior coaster. Those are my thoughts on Snoopy's Racing Railway, the nice junior coaster at Canada's Wonderland. What are your thoughts on this coaster? Have you ridden it or any of the clones? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I would appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you consider subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.